why it's important for us to be empathetic, and why it's important for us to help others. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to speak in terms of compassion, love, okay, gratitude, right? And also we're going to discuss a few other things, positive emotions, okay? Now, I'm a life coach and I help mostly executive people. So I call them high performance individuals only because they have very strenuous jobs and I have to get them to a place of calm rather quickly. And I use a vocalization process for that. And I detail it in my book. I wrote this book years ago, and we detailed the process here. And this is the vocalization process. But today we're going to talk about compassion, okay? And how when you are compassionate, you receive blessings. Okay, we're going to talk about that. But this process is also in my book, and we're going to discuss it. And I'm going to tell you a story about a dentist who was very, very compassionate and who helped a friend of mine who was blind. So just for some backstory, okay, we're going to talk about my friend. And when I was 24 years old and everything, and he really changed the way I thought about things. And he changed the way I thought about things by being compassionate for my friend who was blind. And he did his dental work. And he said, well, you know, I had this advertising machine that I built. It was a $4 million ad machine in 15 years. And so what we did was we advertised his business and made him quite popular. And in turn, he helped my friend that was blind. And I was just, you know, looking to make a deal with somebody, right, at that point. And so my consulting company actually made the deal with him, and he helped my friend that was blind, but he didn't have to, okay? But compassion is something that people don't have to do. You don't have to be compassionate. You don't have to be empathetic. Good morning, guys. You don't have to extend yourself. You don't have to be generous. You don't have to be grateful. You don't have to be anything, okay? But this guy was, and he really, really like changed the way I looked at things, right? Because here's this guy who's a dentist making tons of money, right? And he agreed to make the deal with me, and then he helped my friend who was blind. But you would be surprised at how many people that I approached over the years to help my friend that was blind. And you know, I don't want to go into the details and everything and, you know, bring everybody down, but it was a serious case. And he really, you know, we looked for a lot of people to try to help him, and nobody would help him. And, you know, like I said, you never should be never afraid to help people, okay? Never be afraid to extend yourself. Never be afraid to help. Okay, now, if you want to look at, let's say, let's call it the universe, or let's call it God, or let's call it God's world, okay, because I know, you know, a lot of people, especially my religious friends, tell me that this is Satan's world. And I'm like, not really. But I know what they mean. Okay, I'm aware of what they mean. But anyway, if you give, you will always get. Okay? If you extend yourself, you will always receive. And in order to get something, you have to give first. And, you know, I want to say that when I met this dentist that did this for my blind friend, I was so impressed with him because he didn't need to do it. He had money. He had a lot of money, right? He was his business was doing rather well. We bumped up his business even more so. But, you know, as it was when I met him, he was doing really well. So he didn't have to do it, but he did it. And he helped my friend who was blind. And anyway, the lesson here being, like, you know, some of the biggest people I know, and when I say big people, I'm just talking in income. Some of the wealthiest people I know are the most generous people. Okay, now I know a lot of poor people demonize rich people. So I'm here to tell you, if you demonize rich people, or if you're that kind of person, when you see someone with a lot of money and you kind of feel resentful, you know, like that, you need to change that. You need to change that. See, most people are good at giving, right?